G'day guys and welcome to another video. We're back in Australia now. As you can see, I kind of finished the last video weird if you did watch it all the way to the end. Pretty stoked obviously to get the win. We're now leading the D1NZ series by quite a large chunk, almost 100 points. So everything's looking pretty good there. But while I've been gone, someone came and picked up my front quarters off my jzx100. So they've gone off. I actually don't know where they've gone, but they've gone off. Kind of cool thing with my JZX. It's actually super clean under here, but more that coolness, it's got all bracing on both sides of this car. It has a ton of bracing and everything. So shout out for Hayden for getting those quarter panels off. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Someone was just having some fun. Anyway, we do have the new wide body here. So I'm going to unwrap this, Johnny, and just have a bit of a look at it, maybe sit it on the car. We got some work to do. We have to cut up these, what some would say are perfectly good rear fenders to be able to do what we need to do. So yeah, cutting out these rear fenders to fit the rear flare. Not everyone's going to agree with this look. I'm pretty freaking keen for it. It's a look I've always loved on JZXs. I also have a roof wing to go on this car, and my plan is to get the rear lip fixed as well. The rear lip is damaged. So I'm going to get the rear lip painted, the roof wing painted, and then obviously all of this new wide body painted at the same time, the same place that's doing the R32 Skyline. So R32 goes to paint on Friday. We'll have that turned around. If you don't already know, I have entered Queensland Matsuri. It's been a long time coming since I've entered a Queensland Matsuri. So we will be there with a trade stand and all the good stuff. Not 100% sure on which cars we're bringing yet. Definitely the 32, but it'll sort of be the unveiling for the R32 there at Matsuri. So really looking forward to that. But anyway, I'm going to start ripping open this wide body and, well, these wide fenders and see if everything got to Australia without being damaged. Okay, we are wide now, boys. Look at this. That is way wider. So I think they're 75 mil wider than stock. And my other fenders were already wide. And then these are our rears. Our rears are here. I just sat them on. I'm going to go and trim them first, because right now they need to be trimmed to obviously fit where the tyre would be. And then we can work out where we need to cut on the rear guard. Front fitment is sick. Like, these are such a nice, oh man, definitely super good quality. And then these little bits here go on down here and complete the look. So it's not a wide body with a big step. That goes in. You end up with a nice looking front area. So yeah, need to get my big boy wheels on, huh? Unreal. All right, so I've just done some quick taping up to see where she's going to sit, and she's looking pretty good. So you see down on the front there, the way it joins up really nice and looks like it should. So looking down from the front, it collects the front bar, and then down the back. So these are such nice fitting. Look, they have cutouts for the body itself. So now I've got to get in underneath here and work out how far up I need to cut, how far around. So I can give myself all the clearance I need for my big wheels. So yeah, it's going to be scary cutting this car up, but it's got to be done. I think this is going to look amazing. It's exactly the look I love with the JZX. Big meaty tyres, a little bit higher than it was, and flares and stuff. I think this is going to be like, it's exactly what I like. So like I said, it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's a style that I really like in the JZXs, so just bear with me. Alrighty, so off camera, I had a bit of a dig at the car and went ahead and changed the front wheels over, and really gives you a better idea at the look I'm chasing. Now I've got the back of the car up in the air, I've got the works, same works wheels as the front, they are just a different colour centre, so that's something I have to deal with at some point in my life, but it's not going to bother me first up. But the meaty fitment and everything I think is pretty spot on. That's what I'm after. If anything, I may raise the front a smidge. We'll see how we go there, but I'm up to the scary bit where we potentially are cutting into these rear fenders, which I'm incredibly scared of. Gone and some black texture on there and drawn my markings, but understandably I'm freaking out. So whether so I got a buddy on the way around, he is very experienced in ruining JZXs, and by ruining him, he crashes them and fixes them and knows their ins and out really well, and he's actually who I bought this car off and who secured the wide body for me. So I'm gonna get this stink bug off me and wait for him. It's time. It's time. Professional JZX.
Good to go.
Cutter upper, wrecker.
Destroyer.
You make them look pretty good as well, but you got to make them, wreck them to get them nice.
100%.
To an extent. Anyway, he's done this quite a few times. He's given me a better line to go off. I was getting a bit too greedy, which is fair. And like he said, you can always go further, which makes a lot more sense. And then I need to just remind myself it's just metal. I don't understand how the same guy that just cut a body off a 370Z and put a patrol on it is scared of this.
Freaking out, yeah.
But I love this, so it's like different. So, yeah. First cut.
You're right, just follow that line, man. I don't think you're having dramas because even up all this shit up in here, are you going to weld it or would you rivet it?
Yeah, weld it. Alright, things are happening. Apparently good things are happening, is that correct?
Yep, totally good cut.
It's not so ugly. It's not so ugly.
Yeah.
Alright, so we cut the outer layer just to cut off a bunch of the inner layer. And now I'm about to do a bunch of slits in it. And then we get the hammer and bang them up into where they need to be. Then I'll be able to chuck the wheel on, lower the car and see if we've got enough height. That's way lower that's going to sit. It doesn't have a wheel on the other side.
Oh, does it?
No.
Oh, cool. Alright, so is that lower? That's lower than what's got the width. Let's go.
Yeah, that's like way tucking.
Yeah, so you're not going to go that low.
No, fuck no. Yeah, that sits lower than that again.
New line.
Yeah, we're going higher. We're going higher. Scary. Going scarier. Fucking stab myself in the face, that'll work out good.
Can I unplug this?
Huh?
Unplug it?
Yeah, if you need to for a sec. Yeah.
Got to turn the tent off here.
Asian.
Adult supervision?
Adult supervision.
You reckon we're adults?
No. It's a start, no.
Might be old, but that's it.
Alright, we have got to a point where I'm happy to show you guys. So I've gone ahead, Sikaflexed and sealed absolutely everything. You can see the flare obviously there at the front. So it's actually the tyres closer to the door than anything. Well, I probably would have to fold a bit of the door away under there. But overall, it's come up pretty neat. So yeah, I'm going to set the flare on now just to see what it looks like. Probably going to end up raising the back of the car up and maybe another at least half an inch, but yeah, we'll have a look. All right, that gives you a kind of idea how it's going to look. Very cool in my opinion. I'll probably run it a bit higher than this, but overall I think it looks freaking sick. I reckon half an inch higher all round. Half an inch higher here, I think half an inch higher there, and I reckon we'll be cooking with gas. I'm gonna see you guys in a second, which will be tomorrow. All right, I think we're now in a position where I'm happy with the JZX, the way it's sitting. Dummied up absolutely everything now, looking mint. I do have some mirrors I have to get painted as well. So we're gonna go ahead, rip this all off of this car now, rip the fuel flap off so we can match the paint and give the guys at the paint shop something to work with. So we'll head there in a sec. I'll meet the boys. They're gonna be painting not only the stuff on the JZX, but the R32 as well. So let's go do that. All right, I'm just quickly dropping the car off here at Distinct Auto. We're going to talk to these guys a bunch more in the future. When they don't have music cranking and everything else and they're not busy and I'm not busy, I'm going to catch up with them. But we'll be bringing the R32 by here pretty soon, well, in the near future. They got a lot of rad cars they've painted, a lot of really cool colors. Almost talked me out of the color I was going to go in favor of this, which is absolutely gorgeous, but we're going slightly different. So I was almost tempted for blue as well. What do you think?
Blue.
You want blue? Well,
Yeah,
you know it's not going blue.
Yeah.
You like that one?
I like the colors on this one. And I kind of like the colors on this one. And I like the car. And I don't.
All right, we're back. JZX looks so bare, but hopefully won't be too long before those boys get me all the panels back. We just went on a pretty serious tire run. So I've stocked up 4 Matsuri, some 265s, some 235s for the 32. I've got to get some tires off. He's fitted up onto rims. We still need to replace a pair of Kanzais because unfortunately Rob White was borrowing a pair and smashed them to bits. So I'm actually down a pair of wheels at the moment. So that is something I'm going to need to sort out. So not ideal, but we will get it sorted out. Hopefully before Matsuri, as well as some other bits I've got coming for the 32 from the States. So waiting on some deliveries from the States. But now, one thing I really didn't want to talk about and have been avoiding at all costs is FD. So let's talk about it. All right, let's talk, folks. Obviously, deciding to do FD was a very, very last minute thing. I sort of had been chatting with another team, or with a possible team in sort of September, October about coming to FD, and they were trying to put a team together, and you know, they were trying to work with the sponsors and get things happening. And that sort of didn't look like it was going to happen. And then I think we're just on a conversation, like a regular old conversation with James from JDM Racing. And, you know, we're just talking about it in passing, really. I think Tiana had mentioned something about it, and James turned around and said, well, if you can get a license, let's do it. And obviously we were like, yeah, I'm fairly confident we can petition for a license. We have the placings, you know, we've actually, for those of you that don't know, I've actually held a Pro FD license before. I did FD Red Bull World Championships back in 2008, so a long time ago, but yeah, it was a really, really, long time ago. But that, nonetheless, the guys were happy to have me back being part of it, and I was, you know, we're obviously super excited, but it's, you know, we're talking November when this all came about. You know, didn't have time to get to SEMA to try and rally sponsors together. You know, obviously with, I guess you can kind of see where this is going, but with, you know, trying to work with sponsors with whole SEMA, a lot of sponsors had SEMA coming up. So a lot of the guys I already work was super duper busy getting everything ready for SEMA. And then right after SEMA is, then they had PRI Festival. So, you know, people are tied up with stuff, and then you've got Christmas, the time after Christmas, and you know, everything was looking pretty good. And then once it came to stuff getting to New Zealand, man, like things were starting to become a real struggle. We were set to be using Vitor tyres. And then after SEMA, it was announced that Vitor wasn't going to be part of FD anymore for various reasons. I think there was 5 of us or 6 of us, which were going to be Team Vitor for 2025. That sort of fell apart. So then it was, you know, trying to find a tyre brand that could jump on board with us for FD within this field. Nexon got out of FD as well, which made it tough. You know, so, you know, you added a pretty considerable cost to the year. We didn't have a naming rights sponsor for the car yet, other than JDM Racing, and James, as much as people want to make jokes that he's made of money and everything, he's very much not. He works hard for what he has and just loves the sport, loves drifting, and obviously believes in me as a driver. So anyway, the car, guys, I haven't shown you much of the car because there hasn't been as much progress as I would have liked. I don't have as much to show you as I would have liked because things like the fuel cell, even just the chassis in general, using an R32 four-door, a lot of back and forth between us and Kevin Wells with regards to like door bars and stuff, because as you know, with a 32 four-door, the doors are super small. So we were trying to let them run the roll cage sort of around the pillar, around the B pillar, which would have given me a lot more room inside the car, which would have been favourable. Unfortunately, we couldn't pass that. But, you know, just things like that. When you're on the other side of the world, emails going back and forth, you lose a couple days at a time. And when you're waiting for yeses and answers for that sort of stuff, it does exacerbate the issue. Then our biggest problem, our biggest freaking hurdle by far has been New Zealand Customs, and New Zealand Customs holding up. They held the supercharger for over a month, and the reasoning for holding the supercharger is because they couldn't call, and get this, UPS New Zealand cannot call international numbers. Mind-blowing. And unfortunately the boys at Magnuson had put my phone number down, which no one would think that would be an issue, but apparently it was. They couldn't get hold of me. By the time they got hold of Magnuson to say, hey, we can't deliver this or whatever, you know, a couple of weeks had gone past, and there was a lot of back and forth trying to make that work. even getting a crank out of the States for our engine. Our engine is built now, but you know, getting a crank took forever. Shout out to my homie Matt Field, helping us get that situated. Suspension was great. We got Feel on board, Wisefab. Feel and Wisefab absolutely on point. Got their stuff out right away. Radium was crazy. Like, Radium stuff is amazing. We're super stoked to be working with Radium, and I just got a new shipment of Radium in for some stuff on the 370Z/Patrol, which I'm going to be fitting in probably in the next video, to be honest with you. But, you know, a merch pack came, then 2 weeks later, like a fuel jug came, and then another 2 weeks after that, the fuel cell finally came. And if you know anything about fab work, guys, and trying to build an FD car or a car where you're being super conscious of where the weight's going to sit, we couldn't finalize any fab until we had the fuel tank. You know, we can't finalize any piping until, you know, piping and all that sort of jazz until we got the radiator where it needs to be, but we needed the fuel tank to do that. It was just becoming super stressful, and between myself and the guys at JDM Racing, and after long talks with Ryan Sage, we have decided to defer our entry back to 2026. I know it's going to disappoint a ton of people. No more disappointed, trust me, than I am. That's why it's taken. I've known about this for a couple of weeks now. My wife's been sort of busting my butt to make the announcement, only because, you know, she's seeing people comment so much about FD, and, you know, I've tried to look at a bunch of different avenues to try and make it happen, but it's just not feasible for me personally. I don't have a ton of money by any means. You know, we're having a really good season in D1NZ, you know, leading the series pretty convincingly at the moment with all podiums so far for the year. We're most of the way through the year now for D1NZ, so everything's looking good there. But yeah, more than anything, I didn't want to come into FD untested, unproven car. We know it's not a regular car that you'd use for FD. It's not a new car, it's an older car, but making it a competitive chassis is something that we're going to need to work on, and something where coming in, especially last minute, and having to move our shipping dates back, it just seemed less and less achievable. And I don't want to come to FD and make up the numbers. I want to come to FD and kick ass. And that is something that's going to take more time. It's probably something that shouldn't be decided in November for an April start in the following year. It would have been hard in America, let alone on another continent, where the car then also needs shipping time and everything else. And, you know, a lot of the parts we still need to get out of the States, out of Australia, etc., to get to New Zealand where the car's being built. So yeah, is it a perfect situation building a car in New Zealand? Obviously not. Is it the more cost-effective way for our team? Absolutely. We have the people we know can make stuff work. Now, what are we going to do going forward? We are going to test. The car should hopefully be ready by May now, because we've sort of taken a step back on it. We're taking our time with it and making sure stuff is like freaking perfect. You know, there was some stuff we were like skipping to try and get done for FD, etc. So now we're going to take that little bit more time, make sure the car is schmick, you know what I mean? There was things where we were going to get the car painted, and then other fab had to be done. It would have meant like fixing stuff with spray cans, etc. Just lots and lots of little intricate things, which now we can do them in full in New Zealand and test the car properly in New Zealand. We have a few plans coming up with like pretty cool videos we want to make, possibly a toge video with that car on the streets in New Zealand, obviously 100% legally, and doing a bunch of stuff like that. So I'm very excited to get in the car and testing. There's also some other stuff that's happened. I know I spoke to you guys about, we're going to go sequential. We're now going back to a G-force. I prefer the H pattern versus the sequential. I've been enjoying the sequential in the S15, but there's just certain situations where you just love to be able to grab a gear. Last round being a good example, where I wanted to leave the line in second, and it's very scary with a sequential trying to like nudge up to the line and get it into second gear, because it doesn't really want to do it while you're sitting still. You kind of need to be rolling for that to engage properly. So imagine you're pulling up to line, you sort of pull up in first, you need to hold your clutch in, or not hold the clutch in that much, pull it in a second gear, and then hold your clutch for as long as you're waiting at the start line, which sometimes can be super long, puts a lot of pressure on the motor and everything else. So overall, I just got to thank all the partners we do have involved for this FD thing that we plan to do. Everyone's been very, very understandable. I can't thank everyone enough. NRG, Prisma, Kanzai, who already got wheels out, Feel Suspension, Wisefab were phenomenal. Honestly, guys, like they prototyped parts and everything, and now the good thing is they were prototypes, so now we're going to get a chance to really, really test them before we, you know, come into FD full steam. We're going to really dial this car in. You know, obviously Magnuson, and just big thanks to the guys at JDM and everyone else that's sort of believing in us with this thing. So yeah, we are full steam ahead for FD 2026. This is a much, much more achievable situation, much better for mental health, because I was starting to lose my freaking mind, as were the guys. You know, it just got a situation where we're getting like annoyed at each other, like poor old Chicken was copping it from all angles because we're just like, why isn't the car built? And it's like, well, you can't build it if you don't have the freaking parts. So, you know, it was just a situation that was getting like, I don't know, frustrating and stressful. And I know that FD is never not going to be frustrating and stressful, but this was unnecessary and put ourselves at an unnecessary situation when we can just push it back a year. I am, you know, 41, about to turn 42, but I got a lot of good years of drifting left in me yet. Most D1 drivers now are in their 50s, so if that puts it in perspective, and they're still absolutely ripping. And some of the hardest chargers too, like loose drivers, fast drivers, are still up there in their 50s. So I'm not stressing there as far as longevity. I still love drifting more than ever. FD was never really like a goal of mine, but it's something I would have liked to do at some point, and I guess now we're going to do it. In the meantime, we've got a ton of stuff going on everywhere else. Obviously, next week, a couple of days, maybe 5 days after you guys watch this, me and Tiana are off to LZ World Tour in New Jersey. I'm going to be driving a Corvette over there, not mine, but I'm going to be driving the 945 C6 Corvette over there. Should be pretty good. It's like 500 horsepower Corvette, a little bit spicier than what mine was before the supercharger, with Wisefab and all the good stuff in it. So I'll be in that, so keep an eye out for me for that at LZ World Tour. Straight after that, we go back to New Zealand for round 4 at Manfield, which is going to be super fun, and then back to Australia for a little bit, and then back to New Zealand again for round 5, the final of D1 NZ. And then the weekend after that will be New Zealand World Tour. And then in between all of that, we have the Queensland Matsuri, which I'm taking the R32, the S13, the jzx100, the Patrol, and my Commodore too. So I'm attempting to take at least all 5 cars out and track at least once. That's the plan. So yeah, we have done that before, not with 5 as cool cars. We took a couple shit boxes last time, like AUs and crap. We're still taking a Commodore. Okay, yeah, I don't think an LS Commodore compares to an AU on Choppies. However, you know, we are gearing up, still got a ton of stuff to do. We got a bunch of new merch about to be dropped, so absolutely keep an eye out for that, guys. We should be doing like basically a full drop of, I think, 3 different designs all at once. Hopefully some new hats and new stickers coming out before the Queensland Matsuri. So if you're at the Queensland Matsuri, you'll be able to grab them in person. Other than that, I'm pretty much going to wrap it up here, guys. Let me know your thoughts and, you know, yell at me. I don't know. I'm sorry I'm not coming to FD this year. Sorry to disappoint everyone. And trust me, it sucks for me more than anyone. You know, I feel silly with it all. You know, I feel stupid. I know it wasn't fully in my control by any means. And you need money and all the other things that make the world go around, and there's so many things that need to go right to make something big like this happen, and it's just a difficult thing to do. That's why not everyone's out there doing FD, you know. So and one of the things that I guess hadn't had me, you know, massively wanting to do FD, because of, you know, I know there's stress involved. I talk to any and every FD driver, even guys that are killing it and they're making a living off of FD are still stressed and losing their mind. So it's an interesting situation to put yourself in. But ultimately, I want to go out there and have fun with the homies. I'm friends with a lot of the dudes that do FD, and, you know, we'll see how things go. Maybe have a guest appearance at Drift Masters this year after having a good little run there with Laurie being the champion, and I was sort of, without being too cocky, I feel like I only had myself at about 90% on the chase, not wanting to touch him and things like that, because he was in my teammate. He was my teammate, you know what I mean? You didn't want to beat him up too much. So, you know, and I feel comfortable, and I feel like the driving's, you know, still really up there. So, yeah, lots more stuff coming this year. This does free me up a lot. So if there's any events you want me to come out to, guys, let me know. Hit me up on Instagram or anything like that. Definitely open. Yeah, everyone start hashtagging and messaging the guys at Drift Games. Tell them that I should be driving the Low Brain Drifters S13 for the UK LZ World Tour. Let them know. I kind of want to drive that thing again now. It's been all fixed up by those boys, so that would be sick. Yeah, 10 years. It has been 10 years since I did Goodwood, wifey's saying, so maybe we can do Goodwood again. I don't know, guys. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to stay positive with it all. I am staying positive with it all, honestly, like kind of accepting that we're not going to do it. It took so much weight off my chest. So, yeah, I guess going forward, huge thanks to all my partners. You guys know who you are. Heatwave here in Australia as well. Just all the legends that helped me out along the way. I appreciate everybody and everybody watching, everyone that buys merch and all that sort of stuff. Like, buying the merch and supporting us goes so far. You guys don't even know. Yeah, thank you very much. Peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next one, where hopefully we're putting some nice, fresh, painted stuff back on the jzx100 and doing other cool stuff. So, yeah, see you guys.
Slide through the curve, feeling every turn. Hands on the wheel, keeping it smooth. Got that flow, yeah, got that groove. Can't slow down, this is my show. Drifting on, let that motion flow. Drifting low, we ride so clean. Fast on the edge like it's just a dream. Smoke in the air, tires scream. Feeling alive, yeah, we're